what occurs on page 71 of the Saudi print, whatever what that point is, obviously the continuation of the third point, that the author rahimahullah said, وقال عمر بن الخطاب رضي الله عنه لا عذر لأحد في ضلالة ركبها حسبها هدى ولا في هدى تركه حسبه ضلالة فقد بينت الأمور وثبتت الحجة وانقطع العذر. جزاك الله خيرا. That there occurs here that the author, obviously Imam al-Barbahari rahimahullah, he said, and Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu said, or as occurs here rahimahullah, he said, there is no excuse for anyone going astray thinking that he is upon guidance, nor for abandoning guidance thinking it to be misguidance, since the affairs have been made clear, the proof has been established, and the excuse has been cut off. Shaykh Fawzan said, before continuing with the explanation, they mention a footnote here where this narration from Umar radiallahu anhu occurs. They mention in the footnote, it is reported by Abu Yusuf in the book Al-Kharaj, and Ibn Shabba in the Tarikh of Al-Madinah, and Ibn Battah in Al-Ibana, and a number of others, Ibn Hazm in Al-Ihkam and others, through different chains of narration from Umar radiallahu anhu with it. And it is also reported, they say, by Abu Nu'aym in his book Hilyatul Awliya from Umar ibn Abdul Aziz rahimahullah, the famous Khalifa, as his saying. In the checking of Shaykh Khalid al-Radadi, he mentions with regard to this report that it is reported by Ibn Battah in Al-Ibana al-Kubra by way of Al-Awza'i, the famous Imam Al-Awza'i, that he said that it reached him that Umar ibn al-Khattab said this saying. Obviously Imam Al-Awza'i did not reach him, Umar radiallahu anhu. So he said, but this statement reached me from him. So therefore the checker Khalid al-Radadi said, therefore its chain of narration is disconnected. There's a break in between in the chain of narration. Then he said, it is also reported by Al-Marwazi in his book as-Sunnah as a statement of Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, the famous Khalifa Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, that he said, لا أذر لأحد بعد السنة في ضلالة ركبه يحسب أنها هدى. That he said, there is no excuse for anyone after the Sunnah to be upon misguidance, thinking that it is guidance. The verifier of the book as-Sunnah, Salim al-Hilali, he said, it is authentic in its chain of narration, authentic as the statement of Umar ibn Abdul Aziz. Then with regard to the explanation of this point, then Shaykh Fawzan, hafidhullah, he said, Yarhamkallah, the saying of Umar radiallahu anhu, لا عذر لأحد, there is no excuse for anyone. Shaykh Fawzan said, because Allah has made the truth clear and He has clarified it in detail in the Quran and in the Sunnah. So there is no excuse for anyone, therefore, to be upon misguidance. Because it is he who has fallen short. He is therefore, this person, he has fallen short. He has done taqsir, he has fallen short of what he should be doing. Since he did not seek after the truth, and he did not ask the people of knowledge. So the misguidance has come about on account of him himself. So he is the one who has fallen short of what is required. He's saying, hasibaha hudan, thinking it to be guidance. There's no excuse for anyone being upon misguidance, thinking that it is guidance. Shaykh Fawzan said, This clarifies that dhann, supposing, assuming or thinking, supposing something to be the case, just assuming it to be the case, thinking wrongly that it is the case, this will not suffice with regard to the truth at all. I mean, something's the truth now. Well, I think it's the truth. I suppose it must be the truth. I assume that's not good enough. It's not good enough that you think or assume or suppose. The Shaykh said, Allah, the Majestic and Most High, says, وَإِنَّهُمْ لَيَصُدُّونَهُمْ عَنِ السَّبِيلِ وَيَحْسَبُونَ أَنَّهُمْ مُهْتَدُونَ. Surah Al-Zukhruf, the 43rd Surah, Ayah 37, with the explanation. And the devils hinder them from the true path. And they, the people of shirk, they think that they are upon right guidance. So the devils, they hinder the people who follow them away, they hinder them from the true path. And they, the people of shirk who follow them, think that they are rightly guided. Shaykh Fawzan said, so what they consider will not justify and excuse them. So they have no excuse, for they did not refer back to the book and the Sunnah in order to become aware of the truth and distinguish it from falsehood. Rather, they just followed their desires. وَيَحْسَبُونَ أَنَّهُمْ مُهْتَدُونَ. And they think that they are guided. Same end of the same ayah. They think that they are guided. The Shaykh said, so these people here, even though Allah has judged that they are guilty of disbelief and misguidance, in fact they thought they were guided, but even so Allah gave the judgment about them that they are disbelievers and misguided, even though they themselves thought they were upon guidance. The Shaykh said, so a person's merely thinking that he is upon the truth does not become an excuse for him, unless nothing from the divinely sent revelation which was sent down to the messenger reaches him. I mean, this is the only case where it will be an excuse. He thinks he's upon guidance, but it's misguidance. That will not be an excuse at all, except in this case here, where truly nothing from the divinely sent revelation which has been sent down to the messengers reaches him, doesn't reach him. Since what is obligatory upon him is to refer back to the book and the Sunnah, and not just that he remains upon what he thinks and what he considers, and upon what other people say to him that it is the truth. This is not an excuse. Then Shaykh Fawzan said, and there occurs in the other ayah, إنهم اتخذوا الشياطين أولياء من دون الله ويحسبون أنهم مهتدون. Surah Al-A'raf, the 7th Surah, Ayah 30, with the explanation. They took the devils as allies besides Allah, and they think that they are rightly guided. Shaykh Fawzan said, so look how they took devils from mankind and from the jinn as their allies besides Allah, and they follow them, and yet they think that they are rightly guided. So do the devils wish good for you? Of course not. He said, He the Most High said, وَمَنْ يَعْشُ عَنْ ذِكْرِ الرَّحْمَنِ نُقَيِّضْ لَهُ شَيْطَانًا فَهُوَ لَهُ قَرِينٌ. Surah Al-Zukhruf, the 43rd Surah, Ayah 36, with the explanation. And whoever turns away from the remembrance of the Most Merciful, then we will appoint for him a devil, so he will be his companion. He said, look at his saying, وَمَنْ يَعْشُ عَنْ ذِكْرِ الرَّحْمَنِ نُقَيِّضْ لَهُ شَيْطَانًا. The same ayah, Shaykh is stressing the point. Look here what is being mentioned. That whoever turns away from the remembrance of the Most Merciful, what is the result? We will appoint for him a devil. The Shaykh said this is his punishment. Obviously the devils, as the Shaykh is answering the question here, the devils do not wish good for you. if the devil is your companion, he will not be wishing good for you. He will not be urging you upon guidance at all. The Shaykh continued with the ayah, فَهُوَ لَهُ قَرِينٌ وَإِنَّهُمْ, the continuation of the ayah, he will be his companion, and they, the Shaykh said, mean the devils, لَيَصُدُّونَهُمْ عَنِ السَّبِيلِ وَيَحْسَبُونَ أَنَّهُمْ مُهْتَدُونَ. And this is where the Shaykh began. He started off giving this last part of the ayah, and then he gave the initial part, what leads up to this, and now he read the first part that he quoted again. لا يصدونهم عن السبيل ويحسبون أنهم مهتدون. The explanation, they, the devils, they block them away from the path, the true path, and yet still they think that they are rightly guided. Those people who follow them, they think they are rightly guided. The Shaykh said the followers think that they are rightly guided, so that does not benefit them at all. And there is no excuse for them in that, because the call of the messengers reached them, but they did not accept it. Then Shaykh Fawzan said, rather excuse can only be with regard to matters of ijtihad, matters where there's room for scholars to make personal deduction. That's the only case where there can be excuse. Things where ijtihad is permissible, that a person performs ijtihad, personal scholarly striving. He strives in accordance to his ability and his capability and his capability to research, to the extent that he thinks that he is then upon the truth. Then he is excused in the like of those matters. What's the evidence for that? He said, his saying, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, إِذَا اجْتَهَدَ الْحَاكِمْ فَأَصَابَ فَلَهُ أَجْرَانِ وَإِنْ اجْتَهَدَ فَأَخْطَأَ فَلَهُ أَجْرٌ وَاحِدٌ. The saying of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, if a judge strives, then he will receive 2 rewards. And if he strives and is in error, then there is 1 reward for him. The hadith, as I mentioned, being reported by Al-Bukhari in his Sahih as hadith 7352, and Muslim in his Sahih as hadith 1716, as a hadith of Amr ibn al-As, and also a hadith of Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu. The Shaykh said, this is with regard to matters of ijtihad. I mean, where will there be an excuse for a person if he's upon something that's wrong? In matters of ijtihad here. As for matters which are tawqifiyah, which are dependent upon a direct text, and they are the matters of aqeedah, creed and belief. And the Shaykh said, this is with regard to matters of ijtihad. As for matters which are tawqifiyya, depend upon a direct text, and that is the matters of aqeedah, creed and belief, then no one has the right to do ijtihad in those matters, to delve into them with personal deduction. Rather, what is obligatory is to follow the evidence. There is no scope for ijtihad, for deduction, personal deductions in the matter of creed and belief. He's saying, وَلَا فِي هُدًى تَرَكَهُ حَسِبَهُ ضَلَالًا, nor with regard to, or nor for abandoning guidance, no excuse for abandoning guidance, thinking it to be misguidance. Shaykh Fawzan said, the matter is not left up to what the person considers himself and thinks, so that he adopts misguidance, thinking it to be guidance, or that he abandons the truth, thinking it to be misguidance. What he thinks and considers here will not excuse and justify him, because guidance and misguidance, they have both been made clear by Allah in the Quran, and they have been made clear by the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, jazakallahu khairan, in the Sunnah. And the Salaf have explained these two, guidance and misguidance, in their lives and their creeds. So the truth is clear, and all praise is for Allah. And from the mercy of Allah is that the truth is clear in the book and the Sunnah, and the way of the Salaf al-Salih, the pious predecessors. There is no obscurity and confusion about it, as occurred for the previous nations when the time became prolonged for them, and the truth became confused for them, and the books became distorted and changed. But as for this nation, then the truth remains clear, and the book and the Sunnah are both preserved from distortion and change. So therefore, there is no excuse for anyone in this case. Then Shaykh Fawzan said, he's saying, فَقَدْ بُيِّنَتِ الْأُمُورِ, for the affairs have been made clear. The Shaykh said, yes, the affairs have indeed been made clear. However, it needs research and study. And the affair is clear, but you need to study, you need to research to arrive at that clarity. He said, however, it needs research and study, that the person learns and acquires knowledge and takes knowledge from the people of knowledge. He does not take knowledge from himself, or from his like, from the ignorant people, or from those false claimants to knowledge, or just from the books. Rather, he takes the knowledge from its people, because this knowledge should be taken from the ulama, from the people of knowledge, the scholars. So knowledge is gained by taking it correctly, not just by taking it out of books. The books are indeed tools for research, but they are to be explained by the ulama, by the scholars. And as for reaching the truth, then it is taken from the people of knowledge and narrated from them, the later generations from the earlier ones. I mean, knowledge is passed on. The early generation pass it to the next. The people of the scholars of the early generation pass it to the next generation, to the next generation. He said, he's saying, وَثَبَتَتِ الْحُجَّةِ وَانْقَطَعَ الْعُذْرِ, and the proof is confirmed, and the excuse has been cut off. Shaykh Fawzan said, no one has an excuse. So this religion has been preserved by Allah from distortion and from being changed, and the truth has become clear. There's no confusion about it, contrary to the case with the earlier nations, for when the time became prolonged for them, then they distorted and changed their books, and they altered them. So therefore, the truth became confused and disappeared. Then just finally, and that's where Shaykh Fawzan ends this point of explanation, and that's where we'll leave the explanation of Shaykh Fawzan till next time, inshaAllah. Just as a further point here, quickly from the explanation of Shaykh Ahmad al-Najbi on this same point, and his explanation, rahimahullah, he said, the author, rahimahullah, he said, Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu said, there is no excuse for anyone to be upon misguidance, which he is upon, thinking it to be guidance, nor for him to abandon guidance, thinking it to be misguidance, because the affairs have been made clear and the proof has been established and the excuse has been cut off. Shaykh Ahmad rahimahullah, he said, this is tremendous speech which came from a tremendous man, that man who was the second Khalifa, Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu. And this necessitates that whoever puts himself upon misguidance, thinking it to be guidance, or who abandons guidance, thinking it to be misguidance, then there will be no excuse for him with Allah. Since this will not be done except by a person who has fallen short of searching for the truth in the book and the Sunnah. So therefore there will be no excuse for him. And therefore he said, قَدْ بُيِّنَتِ الْأُمُورِ, because the affairs have been made clear. Meaning, been made clear in the book of Allah and in the Sunnah of Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and in the action of the companions. And the proof has indeed been established upon the people, as is shown by his saying, He the Perfect and Most High, لِأَلَّا يَكُونَ لِلنَّاسِ عَلَى اللَّهِ حُجَّةٌ بَعْدَ الرُّسُلِ. Surah An-Nisa, the 4th surah, ayah 165. The explanation, so that there should not remain any argument with the people, or the people should not have any argument left with Allah after the sending of the messengers. Shaykh Fawzan said, so there is no excuse for a person who innovates in the religion, or who goes astray, or is ignorant of the rulings after Allah has made them clear, and has made them very clear upon the tongue of His Messenger with what He sent by revelation to him in the book and the Sunnah. Alhamdulillah wa sallallahu ala Muhammad. We'll continue at the next time, inshaAllah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.